Hello everybody and welcome back to Blitz Alert. Today I am doing my third part of football predictions. This week is week 10. So yeah, let's get started. First I gotta select my square tool. Let's go with a purple color today. Actually, I know this works, right? No, actually, no, I don't like that. Here, this one looks good. Alright. So the first game is the Eagles versus the Giants, a rematch of the game where Daniel Jones ran 80 yards and then fell on his face. Well, I don't know. This could be a good game or it could be a bad game. It depends if Daniel Jones falls on his face again. Um, I believe the Eagles are home. Let me check that. Nope, it's at MetLife Stadium again. So Daniel Jones may get caught up in the turf and fall on his face again. Um, Giants fans will hope that doesn't happen. But I don't know. I again two very I don't want to say bad, but mediocre teams. This could go either way. It really just depends on how they play. One of them might have a bad game. One of them might have a good game. They might both have a good game. I'm thinking the Eagles won the first game. The Giants are gonna want to win the second game, especially Daniel Jones after he ran 80 yards and fell on his face. Um, I don't really know. I do think that the Eagles are a better team. I know that the Giants do have good wide receivers, but they don't have a good quarterback to throw to them. They have a pretty good running back at Devontae Freeman. Don't use him a whole lot, but uh, you never know. They could do run first today. Um, they have a pretty good defense. It's not great, but it's definitely not bad. Uh, it's definitely, I think, a top 50% defense for sure. The Eagles, um, they have a pretty good defense. It's not great. Again, it's like the Giants, not great, but not bad. But I do think that you have a little bit of a better offense. I'm not sure if Zach Ertz is back today or if they're going to use Dallas Goedert again. Um, Travis Fulgham, they that's probably their main wide receiver right now. He's been doing the most for their team. He's pretty good. Miles Sanders is back. I think this is just a full-powered Eagles team, and they're going to be able to beat the Giants again. So, oh, what? Did not mean for it to be that thick. Or that unthick. Alright, Alright, that's pretty good, I guess. Although it is kind of hard to see. Let's switch the color one more time. That's not any better. Alright, wait, let me just make it bright. There we go. Alright, the next game. Not Panthers. The Jaguars versus the Green Bay Packers. Is this even a question? Maybe the best wide receiver in the league, with a top 5 quarterback. Probably the best quarterback wide receiver duo in the league right now. Uh, probably a top 5 running back. If not top 5, definitely top 10. Um, they have good players on defense, uh, especially players like Jair Alexander. Um, the Jaguars, their best player is probably a rookie running back, maybe DJ Chark. They just don't have a good team. They haven't had a good team for a while since they had that great defense back in 2015. Was it? I don't know. I don't think it was 2015, but it was around that time. Yeah, the Jaguars just aren't a good team. Haven't been, aren't going to be. Honestly, the really only question here is, will the Packers win by double digits or single digits? So the Packers are definitely gonna win this one. If they don't, then that's just insane. Alright, next game. Washington football team versus the Detroit Lions. Um, not great teams. Again, the Washington football team, their best player is probably a rookie in Chase Young. They do have Terry McLaurin, but they're on their backup quarterback after their starter got injured. So they're going to be using Alex Smith this week, probably next week as well. Maybe even more weeks. I'm not 100% sure, but the Lions have a great quarterback, Matthew Stafford, extremely underrated, probably the most underrated quarterback in the league. He's a great quarterback. He maybe not the best scrambler, but he has a good arm. He knows when and where to throw, and he has Kenny Galladay, uh, one of the best deep threat wide receivers in the league. Um, they have pretty decent running backs, DeAndre Swift and Adrian Peterson, a legend at the running back position. Sure, he's not as good anymore because he's definitely a lot older. He's a backup, but they do have DeAndre Swift. He's a pretty good rookie. Um, a lot of people thought that he was the best rookie running back in the draft, but he wasn't picked till the second round, I believe it was. Um, I mean, the Lions are just a much more talented team. Matt Patricia, probably not the best coach. Wouldn't be surprised if he got fired this season or at the end of this season. Um, but yeah, I definitely think the Lions are going to be able to beat the Washington football team in this one. All right, the next game, the Texans versus the Browns. Now the Texans, without DeAndre Hopkins, that's just like the Patriots the last 10, 20 years without Tom Brady. It's just not the same team. They're just so much worse. They really can't seem to do anything. They have Will Fuller. He's a very talented running back. He's not the same as DeAndre Hopkins. Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback. He might be top 5, definitely top 10. He knows what to do. He's a great improviser. He can run, he can throw, he just knows what to do when they have Duke Johnson and David Johnson at running back. I don't believe David Johnson is going to be playing today, but I don't think that should make a huge difference in the game. But the Browns, they have their star running back in Nick Chubb returning, as well as their extremely talented backup running back, Kareem Hunt. They might have the best running back core in the league. It's probably either them or the Panthers with Mike Davis and Christian McCaffrey. They don't have Odell Beckham Jr. He's out for the season, but they do have Jarvis Landry. But they aren't going to be affected too much by not having Odell Beckham Jr. because they're definitely a run-first team. And Baker Mayfield's stats are actually a lot better when he doesn't have Odell Beckham Jr., which makes sense because he's not targeting that star wide receiver every time and just not being able to complete passes and not get points on the board. So now that they don't have Odell Beckham Jr., he could be playing better, or maybe not. Maybe he could be playing worse. But playing a team like the Texans that just doesn't have the same team that they have in recent years. They have J.J. Watt, who's a great defensive player, just got his 100th sack, but one player is not going to be able to beat a whole team. So I definitely think the Browns are going to win this one. Could be wrong. It's definitely a possibility that Texans win, but I think the Browns are going to come out with this win. The next game, the final game in the 1 o'clock window, or 1 o'clock Eastern time, yeah. The Buccaneers versus the Panthers, a division matchup. Now, Tom Brady has never lost 3 divisional games. That could change today. I mean, the Panthers are a very good team. They just can't seem to pull out the win. They almost beat the Chiefs with what would have been a record-breaking 67-yard field goal by Joey Sly. He had the distance, just definitely not the accuracy on that one. The Buccaneers, led by the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, probably the best wide receiver core. I mean, they have Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Mike Davis, Scotty Miller, just so many extremely talented, just super good wide receivers. Antonio Brown at one point was probably the best wide receiver in the league. Sure, he has had some problems off the field, which is making him switch teams a lot and get suspended a lot. But this is going to be his second game back in the NFL with his new team, the Buccaneers. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller, they're all also there. Just plenty of great targets for Tom Brady to throw to. Their running backs, Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones. Leonard Fournette is listed as their backup. Ronald Jones is the starter, but Leonard Fournette is definitely a better running back. They use him more. He's basically the starter for them. So the Panthers, all right? They have Teddy Bridgewater, who's a very underrated quarterback, just like Matthew Stafford. He's a backup last year. This year, he's a pretty good starter. They have good wide receivers. They have DJ Moore. They have Robbie Anderson. I mean, they at running back. They don't have Christian McCaffrey this week. He got injured. First game back, he got injured again. Hopefully, he's going to be back next week, especially since he's on my fantasy team. They have Mike Davis, like I was saying, another very good running back to take the spot of Christian McCaffrey. He has proven to be very good this season. He proves that the Panthers do not need Christian McCaffrey to be a good team. They may not have the best defense, especially without Luke Kuechly, but they can definitely make some stops when they need to. The Buccaneers defense, probably one of the best in the league. Lots of talent on the defense. This game, a lot of people don't think so, but it could go either way. But I think it'll be a very close game, but I do think that the Panthers will lose by just a field goal, maybe a touchdown. It's gonna be a one-score game. I mean, they lost by 2 points against the Chiefs, who's probably the best team in the league. I think they're better than the Steelers. Just because the Steelers are undefeated doesn't mean that they're the best. Technically, the Steelers and the Chiefs had the same amount of wins. The Chiefs just had a bad game against the Raiders. So, Panthers can almost be the best team, but the Buccaneers, I just think they are the better team in this divisional matchup. So I think they are going to win this one and not lose another divisional matchup like they did to the Saints twice. All right, next game. There are 3 4:05 games and 3 4:25 games. Next game is the Chargers versus the Dolphins. Uh, okay, the Dolphins. I don't know what it is, but ever since they started Tua, they've been just unexpectedly good, like very good. Uh, I mean, they just beat the Cardinals. The Cardinals beat the Seahawks. The Seahawks are one of the best teams in the league. I mean, sure, the Cardinals might have had a bad game, but they beat the Cardinals. They beat the 49ers by a whole lot. The Dolphins are just right now, and I didn't think I'd ever be saying that for a very long time. Uh, it was definitely thought that this was going to be like a rebuild year for them. I do think Tua is going to be the future of their franchise. He's a very good young quarterback who could be there for a good 10 years. I think he's going to be a great for the Dolphins this year and the coming years. The Dolphins have just been playing amazing, especially their defense. Their defense has been great. Uh, Probably a top 5 defense recently. Um, they've gotten like a pick six or a fumble return for a touchdown in like the last 3 games, which is crazy. But the Chargers, they may have one of the best teams in the league, one of the best defenses. With they no longer have Desmond King. He was traded to I believe the Titans, but they have Joey Bosa, they have Chris Harris, they have Derwin James. Joey Bosa actually isn't going to be playing today. But Austin Eckler, I believe, is back. He's back this week or next week. Uh, this is not quite a full-powered Chargers team, but close to it. I mean, they're a great team. They can always score points. They got close to beating so many good teams. They almost beat the Chiefs, just like the Panthers, but they always manage to lose those games by about 1 score. I mean, they've lost the most 1 score games, or they've lost the most games by 1 score, field goal, or touchdown the last 3 years, I think. Just can't seem to keep a lead, kind of like the Falcons. I just think the Dolphins are definitely going to be able to win this one. I mean, the Chargers are a great team, but the Dolphins are just better right now. Um, yeah, so going with the Dolphins here. I mean, I'd like to see the Chargers win because they're a very good team, and I want to see them do well, especially Justin Herbert. He's such a good quarterback. Definitely the best rookie right now, in my opinion. I definitely think he deserves Rookie of the Year. I want to see them win, but they just can't seem to do so. They're like really one of the only teams that could be like 0-7 right now or 7-0. I mean, it's just the games have all been so close. They just can't seem to win any of them. All right, the next game, Broncos versus Raiders. I believe this is a divisional matchup. I'm pretty sure they're in the same division with the Chargers. I believe it's the Chargers, the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are not playing this week. It's their bye week. Um, Honestly, this probably won't even be a very good game. Broncos, they're a pretty good team. Some people are saying that the only reason they're doing bad is because of injuries. They don't really have enough injuries to just make them a bad team. If they had all their players, they may have like a tied record, like 4-4. But they would. It's not like they would be a top 5 team or anything. Probably not even top 10. The Raiders are actually a good team. I mean, they're able to take down big teams, if they were playing the Steelers, I bet they'd beat them. I mean, they beat the Saints, they beat the Chiefs, I think they beat the Seahawks. Did they even play the Seahawks? No, I don't think they did. Never mind. The Raiders are just a pretty good team, and they're a very young team. Uh, Lots of rookies and second, third years. In the coming years, they'll probably be a very good team. Um, Once Derek Carr and Henry Ruggs build a bit of chemistry, they could be like the next Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes. The Raiders are a very good team. They have Darren Waller, top 5 tight end. They have Josh Jacobs. He might be a top 5 running back. He hasn't been doing great this year, but in the past years, or not past years, because he hasn't been playing very long, but he's definitely a very good running back. He just hasn't been able to do as much this year. But I think that the Raiders are a better team, and they are going to be able to win this one. Okay, next matchup. The Bills and the Cardinals, two very good teams. I mean, the Cardinals are led by one of the best quarterbacks, Kyler Murray. He may be 5'11", but he can compete with quarterbacks that are 6'5". That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Kyler Murray's a very good quarterback. He can run, he can throw. With DeAndre Hopkins, he may be the best wide receiver in the league. Him, Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, good wide receivers. They don't have the best running backs, but they have. I mean, they're okay. They're not great. Kenyon Drake isn't great again. I mean, the Cardinals are probably the favorite to win the Super Bowl this year because I mean everybody wants to see Larry Fitzgerald win a Super Bowl, get his ring before he retires. He's been with the Cardinals forever. He has broken records. He's one of the best wide receivers of all time, and he hasn't moved teams. Like you see, Randy Moss and Jerry Rice, they moved teams a couple times. Randy Moss moved teams more than a couple times, but Larry Fitzgerald stays with the Cardinals and continues to do great. I mean, very talented team. If they're gonna win, this is probably gonna be the year. Now the Bills. They should be a really good team. They were in the beginning of the season, but they haven't been doing great. Uh, I mean, they almost lost to the Patriots. They haven't been playing good the weeks before that. But then they come and destroy the Seahawks. At one point, I think they were doubling the score. If not, they were very close to doubling their score. They just absolutely demolished the Seahawks. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, one of the more talented quarterback wide receiver duos. I mean, Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks. Stephon Diggs, one of the best wide receivers. Of course, they're going to do well together. They have good running backs, very young running backs. Devin Singletary, Zach Moss. Their defense is pretty good. Tre'Davious White, great cornerback. This could be a good game or it could be a bad game. I mean, it could really go either way, but I honestly think the Cardinals are going to come out with this one. I mean, you don't expect the Cardinals to beat the Seahawks or the 49ers the first game of the season. I mean, they're just a very unexpected team. Most people would think that the Bills are going to win, but I honestly think the Cardinals, coming off of their second straight win, I think, they're going to want to break that streak and beat one of the better teams in the league. The next game is the 49ers versus the Saints. The 49ers still have half of their team dead. Joey Bosa, dead. Jimmy Garoppolo, dead. George Kittle, dead. The Saints, they just beat the Buccaneers for the second time. proving that they are a legitimate Super Bowl contender again. They always are. They're always a great team. They're such a consistent team with Drew Brees, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, Michael Thomas, technically. Mike Thomas is Bengals wide receiver. Anyway, Michael Thomas is back. They have Emmanuel Sanders, Alvin Kamara, so many great players, and they're just an overall much more talented team than the 49ers. That should be an easy win for the Saints. So the next game is the Seahawks versus the Rams. The Seahawks they totally just definitely a dud last week. I mean, Russell Wilson had his worst game of the season by far. Not a good way to really start the second half of the season. But I don't. I think that was just a one-time thing. They're probably gonna play like they were recently. I mean, the Rams were beat by the Dolphins. Their most of their wins are just against either bad teams or they just had a good game. I don't think that they're a very talented team. I mean, sure they have Cooper Kupp, they have Jared Goff. Jared Goff's not in his prime. They have Aaron Donald, probably the best defensive player. If not, definitely a top three. Definitely a top three. I think he's the best defensive player, but maybe not. Honestly, I think it's between him and Myles Garrett, but I do think Aaron Donald's better. But yeah, other than that, they have Jalen Ramsey, but if you have two great players and a bunch of random nobodies that can't really do anything, what's that gonna do? I'm not saying that there are a bunch of nobodies that can't do anything, but they just aren't a full powered team. I don't know. They don't have talent at every necessary positions, while the Seahawks do. Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Chris Carson, Carlos Hyde. So many good players on offense and defense. They have Jamal Adams, Bobby Wagner. Just such a talented team. They're just so much better than so many other teams, including the Rams, which is why they're going to get the win on that one. Now the Bengals and the Steelers. Steelers are undefeated. The Bengals suck. Honestly, this isn't a question. But the Steelers almost managed to lose to a fourth string quarterback, so I'm going to go with the Bengals. No, I'm not. I'm going with the Steelers. Everybody who is in their right mind would predict that the Steelers are going to win. If they lose to the Bengals, that's just embarrassing for them. I mean, if TJ Watt, one of the best defensive linemen, can't get through one of the worst offensive lines to sack Joe Burrow, I mean, this should be an absolute blowout. If it's not, then that's even if it's a close game, that's embarrassing for the Steelers. I mean, they have to win though, right? All right, next game, the Baltimore Ravens versus the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots have been dominant over the past very many years. It would always be all right. The Patriots are making the playoffs after probably their first game, probably before their first game. Everybody just knew that the Patriots were going to make the playoffs, and half the time they made it to the Super Bowl as well. This year, it's just not the same without Tom Brady, and so many of their best players just opted out. Danny Vitale would have been a great player this year at fullback. Dante Hightower, one of their best defensive players. They have no run defense and linebackers. I mean, they really need Dante Hightower right now. And there were some players that wanted to opt back in, but that is not an option. Once you opt out of the NFL season, you can't just get back in. I don't know why, but that's just how it works. Lamar Jackson was, when asked about Cam Newton, he said, game notices game. He is the OG Superman, saying that Cam Newton was the he was the scrambler, improviser, quarterback before Lamar Jackson was. But again, he's just not the same quarterback that he was in 2011, that he was in 2015. He just can't can't do anything for the Patriots this year. They're just not a good team. The Ravens, they're a great team. They're a top 5 team. They might be able to take down the Steelers the second game that they play. I mean, this just really isn't a question. Normally, you'd say last year it would be a great game. This would be like one of the best games of the whole year because the Patriots are a great team. The Ravens are a great team, and it would just be a really close game, really good game. But this year it's just not. The Ravens are definitely going to win this one. So those are my Sunday Week 10 predictions. There was Thursday night and there's Monday night. Thursday night, we all thought the Titans were going to win. There might have been a few people that guessed correctly that the Colts won. The Colts basically, I think they actually did, double the score of the Titans. Titans had a terrible game. Colts had a great defensive game, as they usually do. Everybody thought the Titans were going to win, but they didn't. The Monday game is the Bears. Wait. If I can find it. No, it's the Bears and somebody else. I just have to find it. Vikings. Bears and the Vikings. Unpopular opinion. Vikings are gonna win. They're such a good team. Bad quarterback, but great wide receivers. Justin Jefferson, one of the best rookies this year. Adam Thielen hasn't been doing great, but he's a great running back or wide receiver. Best running back. I mean, they have the best running back in the league. Earlier, I thought it was Derrick Henry. Dalvin Cook came back. He's the best. It's not even a question. He has the most points scored in the NFL. The rest of the top 20 are all kickers. But Dalvin Cook is number one. Like, no other running back even competes with him. It's just, he's the obvious number one. I think the Vikings are the better team. Bears have been lucky winning 5 out of their 9 games. The Vikings are the better team. I know that most people don't think so, but I'm thinking the Vikings win. So yeah, those are all of my Week 10 NFL predictions. If you enjoyed the video, then hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications whenever I post a new football video, kind of like this one. Do you agree with my picks? Do you disagree? Comment what you would change, and anything else that you think about this week in football or even any of the coming weeks. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.